Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a great day. Thanks so much for stopping by. Well, today I'm super excited to be part of a blog hop. WOW and Gerda Steiner Designs have joined together. They're collaborating to create a real fun blog hop with loads of inspiration using Gerda Steiner Design stamp sets and WOW embossing patterns, and I'm happy to be part of it. There are prizes to be won, so I encourage you guys to go check it out. Starting off with the WOW blog, that will be the first stop. Head on through and there's chances to win prizes. I brought out the fancy coffee today. We're going to make 2 Christmas cards. We have some chilly weather over here, and so it was fancy coffee season. But before we make our card, I wanted to share with you some beautiful embossing powders. WOW was kind enough to send me all these embossing powders, and I wanted to share them with you because I didn't get to use them on my projects. But I heat embossed this. This is rose gold. It's a beautiful two-toned rose gold color. I just love this. This one is called Aztec Glints. This would make great fall colors for fall projects. I'm going to be using the Opaque Bright White and also the clear gloss on my projects today. This here is a beautiful copper. It's called Metallic Copper, and it's super fine. And then the last one I wanted to share with you, it doesn't have texture to it, but it's almost like a hammered finish, and it's called Opaque British Summer. I think that would make a great Father's Day project. But I just wanted to share with you all those beautiful colors since I didn't get to use them in my project today. But check them out. WOW has tons of embossing powders. Okay, now we're going to make a card. I'm going to be using 2 stamp sets. We have the Balancing Mouse and the Tangled Penguin. Both stamp sets, you can kind of mix and match them together because the Tangled Penguin has the lights, but the Balancing Mouse has a string of lights. So I thought we would kind of mix and match both of these sets to create 2 projects. So with the Balancing Mouse, we're going to stamp the little mouse and then the large Christmas ornament that he's going to be balancing on. And then with the Tangled Penguin, we're going to stamp the Christmas tree. We'll just set this aside. And I need a bigger block, so I'm going to go run and grab me a bigger acrylic block. We're going to stamp our Christmas tree. I'm stamping on Neenah 80-pound cardstock with Memento TUXEDO black ink. Both of these are alcohol marker or Copic marker friendly, and that's what I'm going to be using today to color in my images. There's a little star. Was going to stamp it off to the side and decided just to stamp it above the tree. I'm going to end up fussy cutting all my images out today, and so I thought we'll just fussy cut the tree and the star together. We're going to stamp our little Tangled Penguin and then also the little ornament box that's in the Tangled Penguin stamp set here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in, play a little bit of holiday music, and when I'm done coloring, guys, I will catch you back. Okay, coloring is all done. Now I'm going to use my white gel pen and clean up any areas where I went outside the lines with my marker. I didn't do too bad this time. After I have this done, I'm going to use my scissors and fussy cut around each one of my images. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a white border around all of them as well. Okay, they look great. They're all cut out. Now I'm going to take my Versamarker pen. This is a watermark ink pen, and I thought we would add some snow to our stamped image of our Christmas tree. So I'm just going to go over each one of the layers and then take some scratch paper, and we'll take our WOW embossing powder and the Opaque bright white color, and this is a really white color, guys. I really like this white. I'm going to add a little bit to the star as well. I didn't use my anti-static powder tool over my tree, and I kind of did it on purpose because if I did have any of the embossing powder strays, we'll call them, I thought it would just look like snow. So I went ahead and melted that, and I love the outcome. We have a little snow-capped tree here, and then we're going to do the same thing to our large ornament. I'm just going to use my Versamarker pen, add a little bit to the very top, and then we'll add some of the Opaque bright white embossing powder over the top of this, and then we'll go ahead and use the heat gun and melt it. So our ornament has a little bit of snow on there too. Love that look. Okay, we're going to go ahead and funnel the rest of this back in our little jar. Lovely. Now we're going to work on our background. So I'm using a square die and a pencil. I'm going to mark around it. I'm going to cut out, eventually cut out a window in a panel that's slightly smaller than the square die that I had used. So I want to go one size larger on my dies. I treated my paper with my anti-static powder tool, and now we're going to stamp some snowflakes. The snowflakes are from the Balancing Mouse stamp set from Gerda Steiner Designs, and I want to fill in the entire pencil marked area. You don't have to mark it with the pencil, but for me it was just easier. After I filled in most of the area, I'm going to go over it with my same Opaque bright white embossing powder. Tap off the excess, and then we'll go ahead and melt this. And then I did notice I missed a few areas, so I'm going to retreat my paper with my anti-static powder tool, and then I'm going to do a little more stamping just with the larger snowflake with my Versamark ink. And once I'm happy with that, we'll add a little bit more embossing powder, and then we'll go ahead and melt this, and then we're going to have a snowy background. Now normally I use blue for a snowy background, but for today I thought it'd be fun to bring in some pinks. So once this is melted, I'm going to bring in my picked raspberry, and I think I better bring in my blending or my mat here well, so I don't make a mess on my craft desk. But starting at the very top, we're going to add some of our picked raspberry, and then just below this we're going to bring in spun sugar, and we're going to blend both of these together. I wanted it to be a little bit lighter on the bottom because that's where we're going to have our pink ornament, so I didn't want it to be drowned out with the pink on the bottom. So the picked raspberry on the bottom, I think that's going to be great. Now we're going to go ahead and use the double stitch rectangle die and create a panel. I'm just buffing off the ink for my snowflakes so it stays nice and bright white. But my panel size is going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then I'm going to create a 2-inch window in that panel. I'll just tape this down, and then I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. And at this point, if you wanted to make a shaker card, I think it would be fun too, adding a little bit of maybe white glitter in the background. I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess after I have it positioned where I want it, and then I'm going to bring in my card base. My card base today is a standard A2 size card base. We're going to add tape behind our distressed panel, and then line it up behind our window, tack it down, and then we can arrange our little scene. I put my little mouse on top of the ornament and my tree right next to him. We'll just adjust him a little bit more, and then I'm going to pop it up with some foam adhesive, but before we do that, we're going to stamp our sentiment right below the window. For this card, I thought it would be cute if we, because our little mouse looks super happy, I thought we'd stamp the sentiment from the Tangled Penguin stamp set that says, "'Tis the season to be jolly." Now I'm stamping this with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. It's ink that stays sticky, and so I thought this is where we're going to bring in our clear gloss, our WOW clear gloss embossing powder. We'll go over our sentiment and give this a little bit of shine. And the nice thing about this is sometimes when I use my white or my clear embossing powder over the VersaFine, it kind of dulls it down. I found that the clear gloss from WOW keeps the black, which is really nice. Okay, we'll go ahead and funnel this back in. And then I think that looks so cute. We're going to flip this over, add foam adhesive behind it, and then this is going to go in the center of our card base. So we'll have a little pink window behind there. And then I had a little open area, so to fill it in, I'm going to use my Nuvo glitter drops in White Blizzard, adding a little extra sparkle, and then also to my little mouse's Santa hat, and then a few little dots around the tree. And that finishes off my first project, which I think is so adorable. Okay, next we have just a little penguin left. I did decide to trim that off a little bit on the edge. But we have our penguin, and then we also have our little box of ornaments. I trimmed down a panel already with my stitched rectangle die. It's 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I'm going to take the string of lights that's in the Balancing Mouse stamp set, and I thought we would create a frame with it. So I'm going to use my VersaFine Onyx Black ink and stamp 1 row on the very top. And then I'm going to turn my block and then stamp 1 to the left, and then we're going to stamp 1 to the right. Now the ends aren't lining up, but we're going to fix that in a little bit. I'm going to mask off this bottom row because that's where we're going to add our little penguin, so I'm not worried about the gap being there. But I'm going to take my black marker, which was a little bit on the wider side. I have a black Jelly Roll marker, but I took it with me traveling, and so this was just handy. I used this and it was on the thicker side, but I just looped the ends together so it was one continuous piece. And after I have this done, I'm going to go in with my Versamarker pen and go over the black marker area. This way, when I add my clear gloss embossing powder, everything will be embossed. And you can see how thick those lines were. At the end, I don't think it was that noticeable, but hindsight, maybe I should have used a little bit of a thinner marker. Now, I colored in all my ornaments, and I'm going to add a little bit of a halo behind them as if they're lit using a very pale yellow. I believe this is Y00. And I'm happy with the way this looks. I think it looks so fun. Okay, now we're going to stamp our sentiment. For this card, I chose just to stamp the Merry Christmas that's in the Balancing Penguin stamp set. We're going to stamp that a little bit towards the right, and then I did go over it with my clear gloss embossing powder. This way, everything's nice and glossy. I want to add just a touch of pink in the background, so I'm using my spun sugar and my blending tool. And I did it off to the left a little bit because that's where we're going to add our penguin, which I popped up with some foam adhesive. And then I thought we needed a little something right next to our sentiment. So in the stamp set, in the Balancing Mouse stamp set, there's a little ornament you can see here. I stamped it 3 times next to the sentiment, and then I'm going to add the clear gloss to it, heat set it, and color it in. And I think that just finished it off. I'm going to go ahead and add foam adhesive behind this panel, and then we'll place this on an A2 size card base. And then I did go over all the ornaments with my White Blizzard, so they're not only glowing but they're sparkling too. And then that finishes off my second project. I encourage you guys to check out the blog hop. Super fun. WOW embossing powder starts off the hop, and then Gerda Steiner Designs will finish it off. So lots of inspiration, and I'll leave links down in the description area if you guys want to join in the fun. Thanks so much for stopping by. I wish you a lovely day, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.